Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about dealing with fat loss plateaus. But before I get started, please go ahead and subscribe. If you do learn something, anything from this video, we would appreciate that you give us a like. It's really, really helpful for the channel. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I've got three main ways that I'm going to suggest that you deal with fat loss plateaus. But watch. First thing, you'll notice I said fat loss plateaus. Now, I know that for many of you as trainers, you're probably dealing with clients. It's all they want to talk about is weight loss. Please do yourself a big favor. Don't use that terminology. Do not speak to weight loss with your clients. I've had this for so long. Clients will always talk about, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I don't say anything other than that's great. So how much fat do you want to lose? You get the idea. You need to sort of take control of the communication process with your clients. I'm just saying that it will go a long way to getting them to think in the right ways, particularly when it comes to doing your monthly fitness assessments that you should be doing with people. Remember, there's two main biometric measurements you've got to take as a trainer. Please, you've got to do both of these. Body weight, of course, you've got to take body weight, but you must combine that so you can get the right calculations with a body fat measurement device. Now, my recommendation is, because in today's day and age, the technology is so good, you can get the bioelectrical impedance devices. There are some really good ones out there right now. Literally, you can spend under $300, $250, $300 for these portable devices where the electrodes are on the feet, and then you literally grab the handle, and it's got this little, extension device where you can get the hand, and you can literally do accurate bioelectrical impedance. There's simply no excuses today for a personal trainer to not use calipers. Okay, stop using calipers and start using the technology that makes life so much easier. If you want me to, I can do another video just on the most modern body fat testing devices that are out there. If you want to just write it in a comment and say, hey, Doug, I'd love to know about this. But my goodness, go to Amazon. You could look up the in-body analyzer. They've got great equipment. Got nothing to do with them. By the way, we just use their equipment because they're reasonably priced and very effective. And we've done testing with body fat machines and calipers, and we've done the hydrostatic weight, and we've done comparisons, and they are all very close. So that's a technology. This is not a video about body fat analyzers, but you got to have both. Okay. So when we're talking about overcoming plateaus with body fat, okay, now you can lose 10 pounds. And if 6 of those pounds are lean body mass and 4 are fat, well, I know your client says, ooh, they're happy 10 pounds. I'm not happy with that, folks. Don't be happy with 6 pounds of muscle mass loss. That's not good. That is exactly what you don't want to do, which is why when we talk about plateaus, we're talking about fat loss plateaus. Make sure that's what you're dealing with. So you've got to measure body fat and you've got to measure body weight, and then you'll be able to get your body fat percentage, and you'll be able to deal with the lean body mass versus body fat or subcutaneous body fat calculations. At that point, you're good to go. And here's the deal. Congratulations if your clients are losing body fat and they hit a plateau. That's actually the expectation. I'll just use some numbers, use some examples. You have a 175-pound client who is perhaps 25, 30% body fat, okay? 175 pounds, doesn't matter if they're 150, 200, whatever the number is. Your goal as a trainer, I would imagine, is to help them to lose that body fat, aside from the wellness stuff that you're doing with them with exercise. But for the most part, they're trying to lose, they're telling you 15 pounds, 20 pounds, or I want to lose 30 pounds. Redirect the conversation to the use of the proper terminology. Body fat. Oh, so you're interested in losing 30 pounds. So is that body fat? Body fat, right? Is that you want to lose 30 pounds. Well, I'm not sure about 30 pounds of body fat, but 10 to 15 pounds of body fat. Oh, that is definitely doable. And we will do the programming to work that out. 30 pounds of body weight from a 150-pound person, that takes them down to 120. Whoosh, that's a lot. It's a lot of body fat if they had that much on them. So that's why we redirect the verbiage and the conversation to body fat. I hope that makes sense. So when an individual, 150, 175 pounds, starts losing body fat, okay, 175 down to maybe 172, maybe 170, 150-pound person down to 157, 156 pounds, with that being almost pure body fat, that is a significant change in how they look and how they're going to feel. 5 pounds of body fat loss, that's actually really good when you weigh 150 pounds. Okay, aside from the scale going to 150 to 145, the fact of the matter is that's a percentage or a couple of percentage points of loss in body fat. That is significant, believe me. So your goal then is to, now that they've gotten down to 145, let's just say 150, make the math easy, they're down to 145 pounds. That is fantastic. And then they stay there. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, they haven't budged from 145. Well, that can be a little bit discouraging. What are the things you can do? I'm going to give you 3 things to do. Okay. The first one is the most intuitive. I hope it's the most intuitive. And it's probably the one that is the most used, easiest to use, and the most effective that I have found. And that is simply recalculating. Now, again, this is if they've hit a plateau. If people are losing a couple of pounds and then they go a week, they don't lose any weight, but then the next week they lose a pound or two, that's not a plateau. Remember, a plateau is you've lost a significant amount of weight. I shouldn't say significant, but you've lost some weight. And now over the course of a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, for sure, if you haven't lost any weight in a couple of weeks, right after a good amount of fat loss, or body weight has gone down because of fat loss, that's probably a plateau. You get it? So if you have decided and you've made that decision that, yes, this is a plateau, now go to number 1, and that's just recalculating their caloric need. Now, I hope you know that that was the first thing you would have done with them as a trainer. You would have calculated their caloric need. You would have broken that up into multiple meals during the day. You could develop a meal plan. You would have created a generally the standard macro profile: 40 carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. So you've done your macro profile, and then you've got your multiple meals set up for them, and boom, you got them on their way. Now, that's because your initial goal was to determine their caloric need. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's 2,000 calories, right? So if the initial 2,000 calories now has helped them, assisted their metabolism, everything else is equal, and they're exercising, and they've lost some body fat, and it's now stopped, well, what's the assumption? That's probably that their caloric need might be a little on the high end now, because their body mass, right, and their total amount of caloric need has gone down. Could be. I'm saying that is a general way to begin this process. I always look at the individual. Let's just say they've gone from 150 to 145, even 140 pounds. I am now going to recalculate using their body weight, body fat, exercise, and energy output, and I'm going to recalculate their caloric need. Here is the interesting thing. Okay, I've seen this 1,000 times. If I've seen it once, you don't know if that caloric need has gone up or has gone down. See, that's a good question, right? What if in the loss of 5 pounds, 5 pounds, right? They actually, now watch, on the scale, this is why we don't just use a scale, but let's say on the scale, they went down to 145. They lost 5 pounds of weight. What do you know about that? You're not sure that was 5 pounds of body fat. What if that was 8 pounds of body fat, but yet at the same time, they gained 3 pounds of lean body mass? On the scale, all you see is a 5 pound loss. 8 pounds of body fat loss, 3 pounds of lean body mass gain, let's say after a month, maybe 6 weeks, I don't know. But the point is think about that scenario. When you looked on the scale, all you saw was a 5-pound loss in weight. It doesn't tell you anything about their basic lean body mass, body fat composition, which is significantly more important from a caloric consumption perspective. In that scenario, guess what just happened? You might have to give them more calories. I don't know, a couple hundred calories. But point is I just want to give you that general. That is my first, and I'm not worried either way, but I've got to take their BMI, I got to take their body fat percentage with their body weight, and that gives me new data, right? So I get a plateau. Maybe I need to recalculate their caloric need. Maybe their caloric need went up, right? And I need to readjust I need to, kick up their metabolic activity now even more. If that's the case, I'm not 100% sure that's the case. Now, it could be just the opposite. Maybe now the calories that they've been eating probably are keeping them at maintenance. And if it's keeping them at maintenance, you've got to drop it down another 100 or so calories, and that could kick them back into a fat loss zone. Okay, so that's number one. Second thing to keep in mind is that perhaps if you don't do number one, if you don't do the first one, okay, you don't have to. You could just go on the side of the energy output side of the house, which is do more exercise. Increase total weekly energy output, right? More exercise, an extra 15 minutes here, maybe an extra 30 to 45 or even an hour per week of exercise, irrespective of what's going on with or why the plateau occurred. You may find that this increase in energy output might be the kicker that restarts their fat loss goal. Now, you of course can do both of those, right? At the same time, which would be the recommendation. So that's the second obvious. And I'm hoping that some of this is intuitive. The third thing, the last thing, which I don't always recommend, generally what I'll do is if I'm finding people are at lower body fat percentages, this is where I'll tweak their macronutrient profile. Okay. So one of the things we do know is that when you change up the percentage of calories that come from carbohydrates versus percentage of calories coming from proteins and fats, you can actually make some interesting, significant changes to a person's metabolic activity is functioning. So you may want to try, I'm not saying to do this, and please don't do the ketogenic stuff. You might want to try just changing your percentage of your carbs and your proteins and just see if that tweaks their insulin sensitivity enough to where now they can, again, shift into this little fat burning sort of zone scenario and see if that works. You could, of course, at the end of the day, try all three of those. If you can think of anything else, I'm sure there's other ways to do this. Just leave me a note in the comment section. Also, if it was helpful, write the word understand in the comment section. If you want to be a certified, qualified personal trainer, then go ahead and click on the link in the description box below. A couple of other things to keep in mind. If you are interested, every Wednesday night, we do a live exam study. We use a really, really helpful application called Quizlet. If you ever used it, you know it's beneficial, but we do it in a way that allows us to create a competitive environment. It's a lot of fun. 30 minutes, 6 o'clock every Wednesday night, 6 to 6:30. Every Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time, by the way, Eastern Standard, 6 to 6:30. Please just let us know if you would like us to help and assist in helping you to become a certified and qualified personal fitness trainer. As always, if you have any other comments, you can go ahead and leave them in that comment section below. We're here to help you out. So have a great week, and we will see you next week. Thanks.